It's star 6, Carrie.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're ready to go.
Okay. Who wants to be the first question tonight? Unmute yourself and speak clearly so Carrie to understand.
Yep. English is not my best language. It's my only language.
Hey, good evening, Ed, Carrie.
How are you?
How are y'all tonight? I'm good.
And if I was any better, I'd be twins.
I know. I've almost adapted that habit. I used to say if I was any better, I'd be the light.
Yeah.
I got a jurisdictional question for you tonight.
Well,
I'm
wait till tomorrow. We're having jurisdiction talk tomorrow.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm going in a traffic court case tomorrow, and about 3 weeks ago, I went ahead and sent the clerk of court a letter stating the citation number and told her that I would be challenging the court's jurisdiction in this matter when I appear tomorrow. That I've done my research and found no law around the speed limit, and no law was broken, and that the United States Constitution and the Supreme Court law of the land says that speed limit is an ordinance and cannot override that Supreme Court decision because it's unconstitutional. So I told her that I was going to ask the police officer and the prosecution and the judge for their oaths of office, copies of their surety bonds, badge numbers, and bar cards on this matter when I appear tomorrow. And I said that the police officer never had a probable cause to stop me because I wasn't wanted for a crime, and speeding is not a civil or a criminal offense.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. What state are you in?
North Carolina.
Okay, in Texas, the transportation code is it starts off the first page. It says this code is for commercial use only. So I suspect yours. There it is too.
Okay.
And so
I will look that up.
Right. If it does, then you just that would be the jurisdiction is. Were you in? Are they in transportation or are they in something else? See.
Right. Okay.
But in Texas, for an example, in Texas, I went into a 7-Eleven to buy something to drink, and on the wall it says you can't drink alcohol on these premises because of the alcohol beverage code. So, in Texas, if you get a driving drunk or a DWI or whatever, and they take you to the county or they'll take you to a state court. The problem is we have an alcohol beverage code. So that would have to be an alcohol beverage code court. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
See? And so,
yes, it does.
And see, when you look up in the alcohol beverage code, there is, in Texas, now I'm only talking about Texas because that's where I'm at, but it says .08 is 2 times the legal limit. Well, the problem is the alcohol beverage code doesn't say that. It says it in the state law. Now the problem is they're borrowing a code from the alcohol beverage from the county. In other words, if you have a alcohol beverage code, then that's where the alcohol beverage has got to be governed. See?
Right.
And okay. Now, I suspect it's the same way there. I don't know that for a fact, but I suspect that's the same way there. Okay.
Well,
but
I
that's
would
where
imagine
you'll find
yeah. I would imagine that traffic court is administrative.
Right.
If it's a court of law that I'm stepping into tomorrow, then I'm in the wrong place because it's not a law that I broke. It's a rule. It's an ordinance.
Right. you can always ask him if he says it's a law, then make him show it to you. If he says the ordinance so-and-so, then ask him where the ordinance court is. I've had to do that before. See, they'll go there and the prosecuting attorney says, well, we're here today by Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. Well, I objected to it because I thought I was in a court of law. He said, you are. I said, so is the rules the law? And it just creates an issue with them because I want to go to the court of rules if I'm in the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. I want to go to the Texas Rules Court, not the law court. Say.
Sure.
Anyway, that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't know if I'm right or not, but.
Hey, no, I like the way that you look at things. It gives me hope.
Yes, it's different. It's different. But in the Texas Transportation Code, it says the driver's license is for commercial use only. So if you don't have one and they charge you with one, there's no charge because I'm not in a commercial activity.
Right.
So anyways, not that we win all the time, but that's our argument, and then we appeal it, and then the appellate court, we do real well with it.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look at the North Carolina Transportation Code.
Right, because that's what more than likely that's where it's at. You're in transportation, and then just go in there and get the definitions of what transportation is and how it's governed and all of that. Okay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I've got some more questions, but I don't want to take up all your time at the beginning of the call. I'll see if other folks might have some of the same questions, and then I might just get the answers that you give them.
That'd be
great.
Thank you very much. Thanks for calling.
Okay, next question.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I was calling. I submitted my paperwork to the tax court, and I got an order of dismissal. But I got an order of dismissal for failing to pay the filing fee.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know what would be my next recourse. I was looking at. Go ahead.
Well, what I would start with is it says they don't have jurisdiction. So if they don't have jurisdiction, how can they tell you to pay the filing fee? So I would go back and ask for a clarification. If you don't have jurisdiction, which you admitted, how do you have jurisdiction to tell me to pay the filing fee? And then put it back on them. Don't do their job for them. Make them do what they're supposed to do. See what I'm saying?
Right. How would I submit that?
Okay. How they send it to you? Well, you could, but it comes to you and it says petitioner versus the commissioner. Put that on your paper and then just do the heading. Do it as a motion, and if you don't know how to do it, then do it as a Form 2. You can do that as a Form 2.
Okay.
Or do it as a motion. You can. What's that, Ed?
Be sure and put a docket number on there.
Yeah, put your docket number on there so they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I was looking at the court, tax court, on their website, and it was saying about the action for administrative costs, which was Rule 270, and the tax court civil procedures, and it said that they couldn't dismiss a case because it's not even a case yet. It was just a petition, so I didn't even get anything from the tax court. I mean, from the commissioner. It just came straight from the judge. So that means that I have an open case.
That's okay. Go in there and tell them that. Tell them you need a clarification. Are you an attorney, by the way, any chance?
Not me.
Okay, see? So you can't make a legal determination. You can't. So that's your shoe in. So go in there and tell them, I'm not an attorney. I need a clarification. You stated you don't have that you don't have jurisdiction. Yet you're telling me to pay the filing fee. If you don't have jurisdiction, I need a clarification because I'm not an attorney. How can you tell me to pay the filing fee when you're not when you don't have jurisdiction? And send it back. Just make them do their job. See, we're backing them up. They're back.
Yeah. What I'm confused about is it doesn't say to pay a filing fee. What it's saying is a petition for $60 is
that's
for
the filing fee.
The petition for $60 is the filing fee for administrative costs. That's what it says.
We don't care. We don't care what it says.
Okay.
The court said it doesn't have jurisdiction. Now, I want you think about this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You think about this for a minute, okay? Are you married by any chance?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
If I go to now, you think about this administratively. I go to a garage sale. I find your marriage license in the garage sale, and I buy it. Now, I own your marriage license administratively. Who are you married to?
My husband.
But wait a minute. I have your marriage license. See, that's what they're doing. They're telling you have to do something. They don't have jurisdiction to tell you to do it, but they're telling you to do it. So just go back and tell them. If you don't have jurisdiction, if they don't have jurisdiction, that means they don't have jurisdiction on anything. How can they administratively tell you to do something if they don't have jurisdiction?
Right.
Okay. All right. That's all. So go back and tell them you're not an attorney. You need a clarification. The clarification is you said you don't have jurisdiction. Now you're telling me to pay the filing fee. See? Then you could ask a question. So in other words, let me understand what you're saying. You're saying if I paid the filing fee, I win the case. See? Make them do their job. Okay, that's all you're doing. They're already backed up. We're doing several 100,000 of these a month. So if every one of these goes back and they have to do 3 or 4 of them, that means they're doing 400,000. They're not helping themselves. We'll win it. We'll just win it. We'll win. We'll beat them. We'll beat them by penetration if we have to. We'll just keep piling on. See, so just go back and use what you have, and make the court do what they're commissioned to do.
Okay.
Do you see where I'm coming from? Do you understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because it still is administrative, but I have a signed by a judge. There you go. And so now I'm in court. Yeah, I'm in court, but yeah.
Okay.
I
want you to think of. There you go. If you have a sore tooth, would you go to a podiatrist, a veterinarian, or a dentist?
Of course, a dentist.
Why? They're all doctors.
There's.
See? That's all you're doing. You're telling them, okay, I'm not an attorney. I want the right doctor to look at my tooth. You just keep it on them. Keep the squeeze on them. Push them. Okay. See? That you have a legitimate question. They said one thing, but yet they're doing something else. They're saying they don't have jurisdiction, but you got to pay the filing fee. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right, and didn't make any sense to me because I'm trying to get an answer from the IRS, but they're blocking me from going to the IRS, and it's like the cart before the horse.
There you go.
So
see, there you go, and there you go. Now you see it. That's how you do it. You make the court do what the court's supposed to do.
Right.
Okay. Kerry.
Yes.
What state is this lady from?
Ask her. What state are you from?
I'm from Hawaii.
Ohio?
Hawaii.
Oh, man. I heard you the first time. I just said that so that I could. I'm jealous now because it's cold here.
We got
You did say Hawaii.
The weather. Excuse me.
You did say Hawaii, right?
That's what she said.
I did. Yes, Hawaii.
The reason I'm asking is there appears to be some states, for some reason, they are doing this and bypassing the motion from the attorney.
Right.
Just
stay on.
Right.
They're not.
I didn't get anything from. And I got this letter back in after sending my form, my petition.
Yeah.
I got this back in 1 week. I got the order of dismissal
Right.
back within 1 week. It didn't take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months.
Right, but that's what I would do. I would question them because they're not even doing it proper. Now let me ask you a question. If you wanted to come to the mainland, how would you get here?
Airplane.
So you would fly.
Fly, right, on an airplane.
Now think. Okay, see, you if you didn't add that, I would have said, well, won't your arms get tired? See, in other words, you have to pin them down. If they tell you something, make them define what they're telling you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So flying, yes, my arms would get sore if I flew.
There you go. See, because you did. See, so that's what we're doing. That's what they're saying to you. You're flying, and you're saying, "Yeah, I am." Well, no, I'm not. I need a definition of what's flying. See.
More definite statement. Right.
There you go.
I see what you're
there
saying.
you go.
Yeah.
All right then. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kerry and Ed. Appreciate all you do for everybody on these calls.
Thank you.
Aloha. It's from Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you. Next.
Hey, fellas, I've noticed the tax court is changing some of their ways of response. I've got a friend who lives in Atlanta who sent a petition in.
Yep.
And she got an order of dismissal, but nowhere in there did it say for lack of jurisdiction for failure to pay a filing fee. It literally says order of dismissal. The petition in this case was filed, and because the petitioner has failed to pay the filing fee, the ordered that this case is dismissed.
Okay.
So
that's
they're
okay.
getting smart. They're getting smarter, right?
That's
but
because
they're changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, they are. And then look at it, and then go in there and say, how can you? Then go back and say, okay, then let me see what. All right. When I fight with my wife, she'll say something to me. Then I'll look at her and say, boy, is this what you're saying? And what that does is it just confuses the issue. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back and say, let me understand what you're saying. It's dismissed. For what? In other words, you're saying if I pay, I win my case and send it back. See? We're going to see, all we're doing is we're making them do what they do. In other words, their job is to follow the law, and they're not. See, one of them that was on here earlier said Rule 160. Well, what does Rule 160 have to do with the law? See, that's the rules. So what we're trying to do, okay, if they're burdened right now, if they're getting 100,000 of these a month, and 1 out of 3 they're doing right, that means they're getting 200,000 next month, then 400,000. See, eventually we'll shut the IRS down just by penetration. They'll have so many pieces of paper they won't be able to do anything. We'll break them on mail. In other words, we'll break them on mail. Then, see, all because we're going to keep going back and keep going back. Do you remember do you have any children?
I do.
Okay. Do you have one that says why? Why?
When they were little, they used to ask why all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my granddaughter does that, but I used to do that. So about the 50th time, you want to knock their teeth out, or you just give them what they want. See?
Right.
That's what we're going to be then. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? That doesn't make sense because it says this. Why? Just why them until they give you what you want. We see these courts are not their courts; they're our courts.
Right.
See? Okay. Now, when you come to my house and you don't like the way I cook, leave. I don't care. This is what we're having for supper, and if you don't like it, you don't hurt my feelings. Leave. See, what we have to do is that's how we have to handle this. I hope that made sense.
Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video. And don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified when there's a new upload. Here's the front page of the channel. The bottom arrow is pointing at the subscribe button that's normally red until you click on it, and this one turns white after you subscribe. And the right one is the arrow. The top arrow is pointing to the bell. Now, the bell doesn't show up until after you click the subscribe button, and then the bell will show up. And that way you can be notified of new uploads.
It made a lot of sense, and I sent 5 petitions in, and I finally sent one in on the 1st. They got it on the 5th. They have not assigned it a docket number. They haven't posted it on the docket inquiry. So I would imagine that today it's being investigated for the claims of the NODs missing, and I did. I sent them the letter and said, hey. I received an order of dismissal for lack of jurisdiction for failure to pay a filing fee. So if you all don't have jurisdiction over me until I pay it, how can you demand that I pay it?
There you go. See?
Does this court have jurisdiction over me?
There you go.
So I don't know how this could be denied and closed if it hasn't been resolved. So
right. So
and I haven't heard back from them. So that's good, I think.
Right. I want ice cream. You tell me no, and I say why. You can't have ice cream. I say why. You said you can't have ice cream. I promise you, I'll why you until you tell me why. That's all we're doing. See, they're telling you that you have to pay a filing fee. Yet the law doesn't say you have to. See? So just keep saying why until you get what you want.
That's right. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for calling.
Next. Hey, that's good.
It's still pretty good. Yes, next. Okay, while you guys are thinking, we've had last week we had the IRS went to the United States District Court to sell 2 houses in 2 different states. They went there with they had a order from the IRS that they were owed money. They took the court order that they have and they entered it as evidence. The judge in both cases dismissed the case from the IRS for lack of jurisdiction with prejudice. So now they can't come back. So now the one attorney told the judge, didn't even call him judge, called him by his last name, said, you're wrong, you can't do this. That so-and-so owes us money. We're here to collect the money by the house. And the judge says, according to the paperwork, you don't have jurisdiction. And what makes it so funny is the documentation that was put in, the attorney that wrote the motion to dismiss was the same attorney that went to court and asked to have the house foreclosed on. So, in other words, the attorney for the IRS that said they don't have jurisdiction to dismiss the case is the same attorney that wrote the motion to take the house. So
that's fantastic.
Oh, it's wonderful, yes.
Anybody got any other questions?
Kerry, in going to tax court, there will be an attorney representing the IRS. You've talked before about the enforcement versus administrative authority, enforcement being Title 27, administrative being Title 26. How can I pose a question to the attorney about the enforcement authority if he's not part of the IRS?
Okay, let me try to explain it to you this way. Title 26, it's about 9 or 12, 14,000 pages. Have you ever seen an Internal Revenue Code book?
It's been years, but yes, I have.
Okay, 0000 to 6999 in the Internal Revenue Code is Title 26. 7,000 to the end of 7,000 to 9,000, whatever it is, from 7,000 beyond is Title 27. That's enforcement. So if they're telling you you have willful failure to file 7203 or 7302, that's 7,000 and above, it's automatically BATF. Now, if you'll go to Title 26 and look up 7608, it talks about the enforcement. It says enforcement. The agent, the e-agent, the enforcement agent only has jurisdiction under alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So if they come to you and say to you, because of 6999, you had willful failure to file, that would be Title 26. The problem is they can't enforce it because they're administrative. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and that answers one question. My question is, I'm not being charged with, or the failure to file is not the issue. It's the deficiency, notice of deficiency, notice of determination. They say that I received that, and they send me copies of.
That's right. Are they signed?
They are signed, but they're not signed under penalty of perjury.
Okay, I'm going to send you a check. Would $10,000 be enough, or do you want $20,000? I've got a checkbook. I'm going to send it to you tomorrow morning. No problem. Would you take my check if I send it to you?
Yeah, I know where you're going with no signature.
There you go. I'm going to sign it with Billy Bob on it, and I'm going to mail it to you. Are you going to be able to use it? That is a check. That is a check on a bank, and that is a good check. That check will cash. The problem is it's not signed proper. So the what is it? Your NOD, notice of deficiency, is improperly, so it's improperly signed. Now,
right, it's not valid. In other words,
there you go. It's an invalid. Go to Title 26, 6065. It tells you right there what it has to have on it. So Title 6065, guess what? That's Title 26. That would be valid. They're going to tell you what's a valid letter, a valid document from the Internal Revenue Service. The problem is, even if it is signed, and even if it is signed proper, if it's from Title 26, there's no enforcement.
Yeah,
now, I want you to. Go ahead.
That clarifies it for me. And my question to you is, how do I pose those questions to the attorney when he's not the IRS representative?
Just like you did. Do you have jurisdiction to make a determination for the IRS? He's going to say yes. Perfect. Why is he after you? From what section? I'm telling you, if he's enforcing it, it's going to be from 7,000 and above. He's enforcing Title 27. There's the problem. Now, I want to ask you a question. Now, if you were allergic to seafood it made you sick and you could die, could you eat shrimp?
I could, but I would die.
Okay. Could you eat a steak? Beef, beef steak. Could you? Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem. Then why don't you close your eyes when you eat your shrimp? See, that's what they're doing. I said seafood. I didn't say S-E-A food. I said C, S-E-E food. If you see food and it makes you sick, then close your eyes. That's what the IRS is doing to us. They're coming after you under 7203 or 7306 or 7313. See, all you got to do is pull the mask back. They don't have jurisdiction. Why? Because Title 26 cannot be enforced. Why? We're on a voluntary system.
Yeah.
See?
Got it.
What? See? So you should have said C. Well, what do you mean by C? That's what we have to do. We have to start learning to ask questions. See? If they're telling you you're in trouble because you didn't file a tax return, I'm so glad you said that. See, they're going to tell you what section of the code it's in. If it's above 7,000, and it has been 100% of the time since I've been doing this, that means it's Title 27. It doesn't matter what they say, because you don't have unless you're in alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and then you're in a regulated field. See?
Yeah.
Now, what state are you in?
It's interesting because when you look up anything like Title 26, Section 7608, it pulls it up, but it's not part of Title 26, right?
That's right. It does. That's correct. That's Title 27. Now go to the Code of Federal Regulations, the CFR. It'll tell you.
What about in the USC? It says 26 USC 7301. It actually says it property subject to tax.
7301 is above 7,000, so that is Title 27.
It's listed in the code as Title 26, though.
It doesn't matter where it's at, because Title 27, they're using what they've done is they have combined the two, and the reason they've combined the two because Title 26 has no enforcement in it. You cannot enforce Title 26, but 27. They can't enforce either because you're not in alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So if it's 70, whatever you said, if it's 7,000 and above, it's Title 27. If it's 6,999 and below, it's Title 26.
So what you're saying, Kelly, is we can look that up in the Code of Federal Regulations. It will be listed properly?
In the Code of Federal Regulations, it will tell you where it comes from. In other words, if you put in 7302, it'll show you a chart. It'll say Title 27. If you put in 6212, it'll say Title 26.
Okay. I saw something recently that lady you referenced a while back about the successful case on a notice of lien being a counterfeit security. She paralleled or matched up code sections with implementing regulations. Would that be worth bringing up?
That's it. The implementing regulation is going to be 7,000 and above. The implementing regulation is Title 27. 6,999 and below is implementing regulation is Title 26. That's exactly right. That's the lady. You get a hold of her and ask her to send it to you. And then if you don't mind, if you get it, send it to Ed, then we can share it with everybody. But that's what it is. The implementing regulation tells you what code it comes from. Now, let me ask you a question. Can the IRS do an SFR, a substitute for return?
Well, my answer would be no.
You would be wrong. Because
they can do it, but it's not valid.
Nope, they can do it, and it is valid. But it's only valid for Title 27 because that's a regulated field. And they can only enforce Title 27. If you're a liquor store and you don't pay your tax, they can do an SFR, tell you how much you bought, because they'll go to the distributor and they'll put it down and tell you how much you owe, and they'll do an SFR and they'll come and shut your store down because you have a contract with them saying, I'm selling alcohol. They're going to give you something to sign, and now you're under contract. See,
right.
They have, okay, that's all they're doing. If you sell guns, go ahead and sell guns and sell them and don't charge any tax. You'll be in prison you'll never see the outside. Why? Because that's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. That's a mandatory tax.
Right. Okay. So a substitute for return is under Title 27?
A substitute for return can only be done under Title 27. If you go on the Internal Revenue Manual, it tells you in there what returns they can do it for. They'll tell you what returns they can do it for. They can do it for if you're a 18-wheeler and you're hauling freight. It tells you in there it's 2291 or something. That means that. See, you're a commercial driver. You have to have certain stickers and all that. That's all the tax. If you don't have it, they're going to take your truck away from you. That's how it's done.
Okay. But they can't do it for any of us that are not part of ATF.
There you go. There you go.
Harry?
I want you to yes?
I wanted to add, I'm from Hawaii again, but my husband sent in a petition. I sent in a petition. My order of dismissal just said it was dismissed because of the filing fee. My husband's order of dismissal said it was dismissed because of IRC Section 7451. Isn't that exactly what you're talking about? Because it's in a different...
That's exactly... There you go. Now, what he did, I don't know this for a fact, but because of what you told me, he probably did an OID, or he did some kind of a tax return that wasn't a 1040. And if that's the case, then that might have been a BATF case. Now you're going to the tax court and you're telling them, I didn't get a notice of deficiency. Doesn't matter. You don't have to have one. And the reason you don't have to have one is because you're in a regulated field. See? So I don't know I don't know your whole scenario, but there's something in there.
We just didn't file our taxes for the past 10 years.
Okay, then see, then they're telling you that they dismissed his for BATF.
Okay, and then mine was just one sentence, and it just said it was dismissed because I failed to pay the court's filing fees.
Right.
And then his says that he paid to pay the filing fee. But what I don't understand on both of these letters, the ones that I got for my petition, it says on the top right corner, it has two letters and it says SR. And then his, on the top right corner, it says SEC.
Okay, I don't know what that means. SEC is probably Security Exchange Commission. He probably got, he's done something. He got a big check from an oil company, or I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'd have to see it and look at it. You got a particular thing. And the reason for it is you did something. You got a little different thing going. See.
Yeah,
Believe me, I don't know everything. It's just different. There's a lot of people that are doing stuff that are outside my scope of expertise.
Yeah, because both of them, they're both different. We did the same thing. One even says a $60 filing fee. And the other one doesn't even have the $60 on it. It just says dismissed. And the one that says IRC 7451 is the one that has a $60 filing fee.
Right.
So
see, the 7451, That's BATF. So, I don't know. If you want to get a hold of Ed, send him the return or the letter, and I can look at it and see if I can come up with an idea. I don't know. It's a little different. That's all I know.
But it's like what the caller said about this is Title 27 on one, and the other one doesn't even tell what it is. It just says no filing, no fee. Right.
That's
so
correct.
Two different. Yeah. Okay. And it might be because he's the one with the job and they're trying to take his money. That's why they put it like that.
Very well. You see, that very well might be. And the job that he's in, his job that he's in might be he might be working for a government contract. He might be working for he might be making airplanes for the military or something. Again, I don't know. All that. There's a lot of things that go into it. But this is, the average person that goes to work and punches a clock or is on a salary. That's what we're trying to help you cover. The specialty stuff, I don't. There's not that much of that going on, so I don't know that much about it.
Oh, thanks for making me feel special. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you again. I'll go out.
Terry, just a thought.
Yes.
I might interject here.
Absolutely.
By paying that $60 fee, might we be giving them jurisdiction because we're following their instructions?
No, you cannot give them jurisdiction. No. Here's what it does. If you owe $650,000 according to the IRS, when you pay the $60, they will not hear your case until you pay the $650,000 because you're on the administrative side now. Under the administrative side, they're saying you owe $650,000. There is no reason for it. It's a made-up number. Now, once you pay the $60, you're going to be on the administrative side. So they're going to say, well, we can't hear the case until you pay the $650,000. Now, what are you going to tell them? Well, I don't owe $650,000. Well, as soon as you pay it, if you don't owe it, they'll give it back to you. No big deal. See? So once you pay the $60, you're putting yourself on the administrative side. Now, I want you to think about something. The guy that just asked me that. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I want you to think about this for a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to hit you on top of the head with a hammer, or I'm going to hit you on top of the head with an aluminum bat. What do you want me to hit you with?
I don't want you to hit me at all.
There you go. See that's what they're doing to us. I didn't say that was the only way to do it. See, you picked the right answer. Well, I don't want to get hit with anything. Okay. See, and that's what we need to learn to do. Because when they say to you, well, do you want to go to prison for 10 years or 20 years or what? Well, I want the or what. Well, what's the or what? Nothing. I want to go home tonight. See, we just need to listen to what they're saying. But now I want to ask you one more question. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. If your wife wants to get a divorce and she goes to the federal district court, and the federal district judge gives her the house, your animals, your children, your retirement, gives her both your cars, and gives her your savings account, signs the decree. Tell me what she just got.
Not very much in my case.
Okay. She got nothing. Why?
Because the judge didn't have authority to give it to her.
Okay, but now wait, listen to me. You're correct. The federal district court has no jurisdiction in divorce. You'd have to go to the state family court. So if you pay the filing fee, will that give him the jurisdiction to do it then?
That I'm not sure. Perhaps it might.
Of course not. The court does not have jurisdiction. It does not have it. So if she pays the filing fee, they still don't have it. See? If the court doesn't have it, they don't have it. Now, I want you to think of this. There's two jurisdictions. In rem, which is subject matter, and in personam, which is personal jurisdiction. Which one's the most important to have in any court situation?
Personam.
No.
No?
No. So what would it be?
Rem.
No. So what would it be?
There isn't it.
No, they have to have both. Nope, they have to have both. See?
Okay.
My blog is, our blog is texasrepublic.wordpress.com. Our website is thetexasrepublic.com. Our email address is oneyellowroseenterprises@gmail.com. Our YouTube profile is, this is the link, because YouTube doesn't allow us to have a customized URL until we have over a certain number of subscribers. And follow us on Twitter at Texas Republic for You and at We Are Texians.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it they can never get in personam? Think about that. How can they never get it? Our Bill of Rights says you have unalienable rights.
Right.
What does the IRS do to your rights?
You have none.
Nope, they can't do anything. See, they're leaning them. They're unlienable. That's why they can't have jurisdiction. See, but we don't understand that. So what we do is, like I asked that lady, if I buy your marriage license, I bought it at a garage sale, who is your wife married to now? I have your marriage license. I own it. I bought it. Who is your wife married to?
Still married to the same person.
That's exactly right. And that's what we have to understand. When we go there, you say, well, I guess she's married to you. Okay. See, because we don't understand that. We think that, well, if I open my mouth, the judge will get jurisdiction. So he'll ask you a question and you won't answer him. Put him in jail. The sheriff doesn't know any difference. See? Going there. Go ahead, Mike.
What it amounts to is you can't buy jurisdiction.
That's correct. He's right. You can't buy it, but and you can't give it away. Okay, now let me ask you a question. If this doesn't upset you, what nationality are you?
I'm an American.
Okay, now for $500, I'm going to make you a Russian. How would you? Would that be okay? How would you become a Russian?
I don't think you could. That's what I've argued with him a long time.
I've traveled.
I've traveled to Russia. I've traveled to many countries. I've used their money where you couldn't use United States money. Does that make me a citizen of that country because I use their money? Because the IRS says if we use Federal Reserve notes, we fall under their jurisdiction. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we don't because.
Well, I know we don't, but
right.
But that's what they say and try to pawn off.
That's right. But if you understand it and know it, that won't happen. So, do you have any children?
Yes.
For $500, if I give your one of your children $500, are they mine?
I don't think so.
How would your child?
I know.
There you go. How would your child give away their jurisdiction from you and become my kid? How would that ever happen? See?
I don't think it could unless you got some weird contract.
Well, no, but they're still yours. The DNA is set forever. So let's look at jurisdiction as DNA. If they don't have the DNA, they can never get it. That's just the way it is. But here's where the problem comes in. Here's what people say all the time. I got this. I did that. I. What that does is you're putting yourself in there. It's not about you. It's about them. If they break the law, whether they do it to me or to you, it doesn't matter. Say, it's not me, it's them. It's always about them. That's the biggest flack that I take. See, if they're doing everything right, it's fine. As soon as they do something wrong, it's nothing to do with me. It's got to do with them. Okay.
Yep, I see. I agree.
Okay.
Like I said, if I can't do it to you and you can't do it to me, they can't do it to either one of us.
That's exactly right. And see, then that's what we're doing. We're having you go to the court, telling the court what they did. See, the reason you don't have a notice of deficiency or a notice of determination, even if they say you have one and they send it to you, they cannot do one and get you a lien or a levy. In order for you to get a lien or a levy, it has to be a 23C. They don't do 23Cs. So they do a notice of a notice of determination, a notice of deficiency, a notice of lien, notice of levy. Here's the problem. A notice of lien or a notice of levy, they're monetizing it. As soon as they monetize it, they're monetizing it as a lien. Now, I want you to think about something. You have a $100,000 lien. Who makes the lien valuable?
I make it valuable, I guess, if I try to pay it. But if I don't pay it,
no. Listen to me. The IRS puts out a $100,000 lien, has your name on it. Who makes that lien worth $100,000? You. You're the surety. Does that make sense?
Well, I thought that's what I said, but yeah.
Okay, then I misunderstood you. You're the surety. Now, who makes a notice of lien valuable?
My understanding is notice of lien is nothing.
That's exactly right. But the IRS is monetizing it. Therefore, that's a counterfeit security.
It's RICO.
Okay. So that's right. So here's my question. How much is a $100,000 counterfeit security? How much is it worth?
Well, in my case, it must be a lot because they're taking a lot each month from me.
Okay, it's worth 25 to life from the person that monetized it. And see, where the problem comes in is, let me give you a couple things to read so you can understand this. GAAP, G-A-A-P, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. What they're doing is, by being on the Federal Reserve, the fiat money, they have double book entries. Once they take $100,000 from you, now it's upside down. All you have to do is go to the Treasury and ask them for that $100,000 back. Once they give it to you, you're the surety. There's the plus. Minus 100 plus 100 equals 0.
Right.
Okay, so it's all funny money. See, they're doing it sleight of hand. Now, I want to ask you this question.
They're only reporting one side of the ledgers.
There it is. That's right. So what we're doing by doing this process is we're capturing the other side of the ledger, and when we get it, they're going to have to pay it back. But I want you to think about this for a minute. I'm going to give you an option. I'm going to give you 3, or I'm going to give you 8. What would you prefer?
Depends on what 3 is and what 8 is.
Well, 3 is 1, 1, 1, and 8 would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
But 3 of what or 8 of what?
There you go. See, in poker, the aces have 1 spot on them. 3 aces would be 3.
Right.
Okay.
But skunks have stripes, and 3 of them would be 3 skunks too.
See, that's what we're not doing. See, what we're saying is, I'd rather have 8. Well, 8 would be 4 and 2 2s. See, in other words, it's not as much but what happens is, because we don't understand the rules of the game. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you what the rules of the game are. And because the rules of the game are not what they're saying they are. See? I hope that made sense.
It does. I understand.
So what we're trying what we're trying to do is we're trying to show you how to use the system that they've got together and present them with the law. So far, the law has won. It doesn't always, but it does a lot of the times. So what we're doing is we're going to the tax court. The tax court hits up the commissioner. The commissioner's attorney say, well, we don't have jurisdiction because we didn't give them a notice of deficiency or notice of determination. Now, what they're doing is they're sending them to you, saying this is a notice of deficiency and a notice of determination. First of all, look up liens and levies. It tells you what you have to have. You have to have a 23C. A 23C is where the IRS agent says, I've certified that they owe the money. It's sent to the court. Then the judge signs it. Now it's a document that has the judge's signature on it. Then they file it in the county. That's a lien. The problem is they can't give you a lien because it's voluntary. See? So now what they're doing is they're doing a notice. A notice isn't anything. So they're giving you a notice of lien and a notice of levy, and they have no intrinsic value to them. But they're monetizing them. Because they're monetizing them, they're going to keep doing it because they're being rewarded. And what we have to do is we have to interrupt that.
Put a few of them in jail.
That's perfectly fine. Let's do that.
I plan to.
Good for you. If I can help you, I'll be more than glad to do that. Does anybody else have a question?
Gary, how would you remedy a notice of lien?
If there are numbers.
I'm sorry, how would I remedy it?
Yes.
I would go to the tax court, tell them that I never received a notice of deficiency, a notice of determination. When I got my document, then I would take that document and I would use that document, which we've used very successful, and we've had liens and notices of liens and levies released, and then I would use that, and then that is your driving force. Now you have a document that you can use. The problem we've had in the past is you've been on defense. They're saying to you, you owe us. I don't owe you that. Well, then how much do you owe? See, we always, this way, by doing it this way, what you're doing is the court's telling you, through the IRS is telling you that they didn't have jurisdiction because they didn't follow their own protocol, policies and procedures. See, if they don't follow their policies and procedures, then what? See? If you go online, you can go on the United States tax court, go to docket inquiry, and start putting in docket numbers, and it'll show you. They'll tell you in there that the IRS is telling you. The IRS's attorney is saying, well, we didn't follow our own docket. We didn't follow our own policies and procedures, so we don't have jurisdiction in this case. So the judge is saying, okay, we'll honor that. See, now you have a document in your hand that you can use to do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. My challenge is I don't have the lack of jurisdiction order.
Have you gone to the tax court yet?
No, I'm going Monday.
Well, see, that's like me asking you, I got a boat, but it's got a hole in it. Why won't it float? Well, I'm going to patch it on Monday. See that, but then go Monday when you get your court order. Then now, see what's happening is this is an offensive move. We've been on defense so long we don't recognize the offensive signals. See.
Yeah.
And by the way, good luck with it. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to be in touch with you before I go, if that works.
That's not a problem. That's what we're here for. You got it. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Gary, this is Steve.
All right.
We received our order from the court, but they come back after us again for 2007 and 2008, which was in the original court order, but they said we didn't file it according to the tax court rules, but we got the order for dismissal.
That's good.
How do I go about filing an amended return?
You don't have to do an amended return. Here's my question to you, okay? I do not have jurisdiction. I don't have it. But I'm going to come over to your house and drink all your beer. Now,
yes.
Are you going to, how am I going to get in? Well, use your key. I don't have a key. Leave your key under the mat. See, what they're telling you is you didn't file it right. They don't have jurisdiction to tell you didn't file it right. That's your argument. See, that's your argument. See, we're trying to make this difficult. If they don't have jurisdiction, tell me what that means.
I understand that, and I've sent notices back, but they continue taking money out of my retirement and Social Security.
Okay, now what you do is do a cover letter, send the court order to the Social Security, telling the Social Security they have 1 month, the next month, that if you don't get a full check, sue the Social Security Administration, because the IRS will not come to their aid. Now, when I started this, I forgot when I started this. I'd have to go back online and look. But I'm a contractor, and I got a job. And the materials, I made them pay for the materials up front. So I got $60,000 up front. I deposited into my account. As soon as it hit, I got a call from the bank, and the bank says the IRS wants that $60,000, and we have to give it to them. I told them, please do. Please do. I said, because you have deep pockets. And I went over there and showed them my court order. And she said, we have to do what the IRS says. I said, here's my court order. Show me what they gave you. Show me what they gave you that overrules my court order. She says, well, I can't show it to you. I says, why? Well, I said, just let me see it. And they can have it. Well, I hammered her hard enough. She said, well, they called us on the phone. I said, not a problem. See, and then I did a notice to the bank telling the bank that they can do whatever they want to do. I can't stop that. But if they take my money, I have a court order. They're in contempt of court. See, now it's not about taxes anymore.
Yep.
See? And so what you have to do is when you say to the judge, well, Judge, I don't have to pay taxes. Why? Because I'm handsome. Well, that doesn't mean anything to them. See, when you start talking about taxes, it affects and offends everybody. Now, whether you're a believer or not, in the Bible, the Sanhedrin brought Jesus in front of them, in front of Pilate, and he said, I find no fault with him. One of the Sanhedrin said, he's telling his followers not to pay taxes. He stopped and said, then take him to the cross. So taxes is so, offensive to the government. They'll put God Almighty on the cross because they think he said not to pay taxes. That's what we're faced with. So let's not argue taxes. If you have a court order, why wouldn't you argue contempt of court? Don't sue the IRS. See, sue the government. Because if you sue or sue the bank, the bank's a good one because they have the ability to put it back. Don't argue taxes. Argue contempt of court that the bank's in. Then when the bank shows up at court and the IRS doesn't, they don't have an option. See, because the IRS isn't going to come in because they don't have anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very good.
Does anybody else have any questions? Does anybody else have a question?
I got a question.
All right.
since it wasn't asked, I'm going to ask it now.
All right, please do.
You have in the past discussed that if any of us were having any issues with state taxes, that you could lend a little assistance with that. And believe it or not, when it was a year ago today, when the IRS officer showed up on my property with a stack of mail in her hand, and she's like, I'm here for a surprise visit. I said, well, surprise, I have an emergency dentist appointment. I'm not going to be here.
There you go.
I knew that she was just ruthless, and so I wrote a letter to the governor of the state of North Carolina and told him that there was a rogue agent out here just blistering around, not changing, from fed to state jurisdiction, and how could he allow this to happen kind of stuff. And he turned around and sent my letter to him and the AG to the North Carolina Department of Revenue. And they called me and told me that they were going to investigate, and then 6 weeks later they started garnishing 10% of my wages because I hadn't filed state taxes in the last 14 years. And they're really pissed off about that, and now they won't even respond to me.
Right, that's defense.
Right.
See? Okay, now do you watch football ever?
Occasionally.
Okay. If you were on the team and you never got on the field, your quarterback never got on the field, your defensive players played on the field the whole game, and you played 10 games, how many games would you win?
None.
Well, you could win. It's possible. See, that's what you're at. We could
win if we didn't allow their other team to score.
See,
but I don't know how we'd win if we didn't get the offense out there.
That's right. That's very difficult. So now let's do an offensive move. See?
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of ways to do that. But you can't do it talking about taxes. Because when you talk about taxes, okay, so if you've gone to the court and you have a court order, and now they're in contempt of court. See? You have a rogue agent. Okay.
The state is in contempt of court when I get my favorable decision back from the U.S. tax court?
Wouldn't he? Okay. If the state is taking your money, you said the feds were taking your money. If the state's taking your money,
they're both taking my money right now. I've got a levy on the IRS side and a garnishment on the state side. They're literally stealing the better part of 80% of my check.
Okay, are you in front of a computer?
I am.
Type in Title 3124, and there's your letter. Send that to your state.
Exemption from taxation.
There you go. Read what's exempt. There you go. If they're taking that, that's exempt. Now, does anybody on this phone know what federal income is?
What statute was that, Cameron? I'm sorry.
Title
Federal
31.
income is a gift or a bequest.
That's exactly
31.
Right. 31.
31 U.S. Code subsection 3124.
Correct.
Exemption from taxation.
Title 18, Section 8 will define it. Now, you see, what's happening is, because we don't know, you can research it and look under the Code of Federal Regulations again. On the 1040, look at the OMB number. It'll tell you what it is. It's not a tax return. See? The OMB number tells you it's not a tax return. See?
Right.
So where you're having your problem is once they start taking it, they realize, wow, this is cool. You're buying my dinner. See, you're buying my dinner. See? You're buying my lunch. You're paying for my cable. It's very difficult to have them stop doing that. See? So you have to be on offense. What you're going to have to do is decide which one you want to go after first and write if you have to sue for the proper argument. See? Once you sue for the proper argument, ask the proper question. You're going to get a court order. Then when you appeal, in your appeal, you tell them you want it stopped until it's answered. We did that with a couple of people on property taxes, and it's been 9 years, and they still haven't come back. So they're not paying property taxes, and they haven't for 9 years because the state will not tell us one question that we ask. They won't tell us.
Okay. Well, I'll reach out to them. Should I send this straight to the DOR or send it to the AG? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
See?
All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question. We've got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
question.
Ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, Terry, on what you were saying about, and this is for real, about a court order, that when you have, when they violate a court order, they're in contempt. And I don't know if you want to address this on the call or not, because it's not tax, but it is on this principle. I had a case where there was a court order by one judge in the same court, the junior judge, and yet the senior judge, the presiding judge, came in and started taking over the hearings of the judge that was assigned to the case. And he ignored that court order, which was an order to show cause to the fraudulent foreclosing entity. And he wound up, the presiding judge gave the attorney the sale date that he wanted, and then later they came back and filed a case for complaint for unlawful detainer and got an eviction. That court order is still in place. There's never been anybody, even when they removed it to the U.S. District Court, that had no jurisdiction. That court order and a lis pendens are still open. Now, do you have any suggestions or any thoughts about that?
I would file an appeal. Because once the appeal is taken, everything stops until the appellate court rules. And my appeal would be one thing. What do you think it would be?
No jurisdiction.
There you go. See? I would say I challenged jurisdiction. They didn't prove it. And then I'd give it to the appellate court. The appellate court will then reach out and tell them to prove it. If they don't, they'll overturn it.
Okay. Okay, so that...
See, do you understand that's an offensive move? See, a defensive move is going back down to the same court to argue the same thing with the same judge with the same attorney. That's a defensive move.
Mhm.
See?
Okay, so I've been going over all my papers and court cases and kind of eking out just what would be the best offensive that they didn't prove, and there's a number of them. Do I only need one?
Yep, you only need one. If you prove one, they'll overturn the whole case.
Okay.
Now I'm going to ask you this. Tell me what law you can challenge at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end.
Whether or not they have jurisdiction.
That's correct. Tell me another one. I don't know another one. So to me, that's a given. That's what I would do. I would do an appeal, and my appeal would be they didn't prove jurisdiction. I asked them, I objected, and they did not prove jurisdiction. And then tell them, here's what they ruled. They didn't have jurisdiction to rule that way. And give it to the appellate court and see what the appellate court says.
Okay, so in our case, I simply asked for, because we had to file the case to stop the foreclosure. So that's the way their laws, their code reads on non-judicial. And so
what state are you in?
Washington State.
Oh, boy. I'm in Texas, and they have non-judicials, and it's just they're
a mess.
Yes. We're a Republican state. We're a conservative state, and we have this mess. So I'm not so sure Republicans know what they're doing because, anyways, I'm sorry. I got off track. Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking the first thing that there were 2 points that I think were key, that I was denied both of those, and I think that was wrong. And one was I required that the state produce that they show that the original note, that they have it, etc. Yeah. The judge denied that. He said, "Oh, well, you don't do that and this and that." So he didn't. So that was he denied. I mean, how do I say it? He took jurisdiction without any evidence that he had jurisdiction.
Yes.
I mean,
now, are you from North Carolina?
No.
Okay. I got a guy that knows the answer for North Carolina. Let's come back to you. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, and the other point is that by their laws, that any of these entities, they have to have an instrument showing passing from one entity to the other, an assignment of some sort. There is none
they don't.
in the case.
Right. There's not any, and the reason they don't have to have that in a non-judicial, because they'll come up with something else, or they'll give you something else, or they'll talk about something else. The non-judicials are just the most. They did that to protect the banks, like the banks need protecting. That's not my expertise. That's not my expertise, because the foreclosures. I have I've been pretty good with them, but I don't do very well with them, because in a non-judicial, they're going to tell you that up is down and down is up. The judge is going to say it is. And when you question it, he's going to say, well, it is because I said it is. So I don't know what to do about it, see?
Well, there's 2 things that I can just say real quickly here, if I may.
Okay.
The recording laws, they're not the non-judicial foreclosure, and that area, that statutory area, is never exempted from having to comply with those recording statutes. Never.
Okay,
and
then I don't know. Right, that's not my expertise.
Yeah.
So.
The other, I just wanted to mention that to you. And the other thing was that something else you just said that. Oh, well, I'll think of it.
Okay.
It was kind of important.
Well, when you think
it was very short.
Right. Well, come. That's good. Come back. The person from North Carolina, are you still here?
I am.
Okay. Go ahead. I got somebody here that wants to help you.
Oh, thank you.
What's your name, North Carolina?
Tori.
Hi, Tori. I'm Mike. I'm in Texas.
Hi, Mike.
I do a lot of legal research. You can find your answer in Chapter 20 of the North Carolina statutes. Do you have your ticket in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Does it say what kind of vehicle you are?
A station wagon or truck.
It says a truck.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't. It was a Ford Escape.
Okay.
It was a smaller SUV.
Well, right then and there, the ticket is defective on its face, and you can move for immediately motion for dismissal. As I was not in, as that wasn't me. I don't own a station wagon or truck.
I don't.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing. Chapter 20, and you look
Chapter
up
20.
Chapter 20 of the North Carolina statutes.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going there now, but it's 20-4.01 subsection
4601.
Hang on, I'll say it again. 4.01
Okay.
subsection 27. Now, this is the definition of a passenger vehicle, but they have you listed as a truck. So let's see what the definition of truck is. I'm trying to find it now, so just give me a second.
Take your
No,
time,
you're fine.
Mike. Yeah, you see, it's in the it's in the it's in the transportation code. It's all about words, and if you understand the language that they're speaking, they can't trap you that way.
Okay,
right.
If they list you as a truck, it is either a Class A, Class B, or Class C motor vehicle, or they can classify you as a commercial motor vehicle. If they
right.
have you listed as a truck, I would venture a guess that they have you listed as a commercial motor vehicle, because that's what a truck is, correct?
Right.
Okay. So the second point you can make is ask the cop, if he's going to be in court, was I in a truck? And when he says no, the ticket's defective. My girlfriend got a ticket. It was a speeding ticket in Houston. And I looked at the ticket itself, what the cop wrote, and I burst out laughing. He forgot to put down the speed that she was going. So I went with her to the court, small claims court, a little dinky thing in downtown Houston. And I said, Your Honor, this ticket has to be dismissed. The cop looks at me, and I got three heads, and the judge goes, Why? I said, Your Honor, take a look at the ticket. There's no speed on it. Case dismissed, right then and there. So your question to the judge is, or to the cop, was I in a truck? Take a picture of the car you were in and bring it with you. Your Honor, this doesn't look like a truck to me. Does it look like
it was a rental.
Was it a truck?
No, it was a Ford Escape. It was a one of those small crossover SUVs.
You go take a picture of any Ford Escape of the same color. Find one in the park and take a picture of it.
Right.
You don't need the license plate. They're not getting you on the license plate. They're getting you on a truck. The cop's not going to have a picture of it, probably.
Right.
And if he says he does, great. Can you show it to me? He's dead in the water at that point, too.
Okay.
Did that help you?
You can get out of it.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you, bud.
Okay, be good. I'm muting.
Thank you. Did North Carolina did that help?
Oh, sorry.
It did help. Thank you very much.
Check out our other videos and playlists. Republic of Texas RT documentary. Texas and other American states is under a military occupation. The Republic of Texas Forum of 2016. And describe the kind of people who would thrive in independent Texas. And so check them out.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am. You got a question.
I just have a quick question. Yeah, for the person who said they were from Washington State, would you send Ed an email if you'd be willing to talk to me? I also live in Washington State. I don't know exactly what area you're in, but I'd be curious to see if we could connect.
All right. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I will do that. And also, Terry, I remembered the second important point that I was going to mention, which
Great,
fits
go ahead.
in with what you're doing. The other point that I brought up in the court was that they don't have personam jurisdiction in that matter because even though my son signed a note and deed of trust, the definition of borrower in the Deed of Trust Act does not describe my son anywhere in it.
See, there you go. There's your jurisdictional argument. You can go ahead and the lady there that's from Washington, she may know more about it than me, but see, there's your jurisdictional argument right there.
And
if they don't have jurisdiction,
every single state has that because they're
that's
using
right.
a commercial instrument to hook in living people without telling them that they don't fit that without telling them that they're being seen as somebody who can make a security exchange and all that.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
To the lady from Washington going through the foreclosure. All you got to they came after me for non-payment of a note for a car. Actually, 3 cars. Well, 3 notes. The way I beat them was so simple, the attorneys that I had couldn't figure it out. All I had to do was ask them, can you please provide me any documentation of the thing that you gave me that had value? Do you understand that?
Uh-huh. Can you provide me any Can you provide me any documentation of anything you gave me that had value?
Of the thing that you provided me that had value. Do you understand it? If I give you a reserve note, how much value does it have?
Say that again.
If I give you a Federal Reserve note out of my pocket, how much value does it have?
None.
Okay, so when the banks gave somebody the loan, how much value did they give to them?
None.
Okay, so if they're going after something that has value, don't you think it proper that they give you something of value?
Yes, that's a contract law.
Exactly.
That's a point of
so
contract.
if my contract, if they say they give you Federal Reserve notes, okay, prove it. Prove to me that you gave me something of value.
How does that work when they say, and I kind of feel that's a little bit off discussion, but how does that work when they say, oh, no, we gave it to the seller?
Does it matter? They say they gave you a loan, right? That's what you to trust.
So. Right.
If they gave you the loan, I don't care who they gave the money to. What did you give me that had value? And if they say the house, great. Show me where your name was on the deed originally when I bought it. Can they do that?
No.
Okay, now, let's say they come back and make the same statement. We gave you stuff when you bought the house. Great. Prove to me that you gave me that stuff. Well, they didn't give you anything. They gave it to somebody else, didn't they?
If that, even.
So now they didn't give you the house. They weren't on the first deed. They didn't give you the money. They gave it to somebody else. So what exactly did they give you of value?
Nothing. Actually, we gave them value.
Exactly. So here's what happened to me. And I can tell you this because Carrie can vouch for me. When the federal judge received the paperwork, well, not the federal judge, but when the attorneys on the opposing counsel for 3 different court cases, district, county, and Fed, because they came after me in 3 different jurisdictions, when they received the paperwork for discovery, every single one of them dismissed the case. Every single one of them to a T.
What did you ask them for? To prove what you just said?
Yep. I said, produce the thing that you gave me that had value. Produce any document.
Is that equivalent to my question to them? Produce the original note and the original deed of trust.
Whoa. Slow down. Whose note is it? If you don't understand this, you're going to fall into that trap. So whose note?
The one who signed it.
Correct. So it's your note.
Right.
It's a single signed signature note. Yours. You gave the note value to securitize it. The bank went to the Fed, said, hey, I've got a note here. I need the money. We're going to use this note as security. Your signature. Okay, that's why the quote-unquote liens for the IRS. Your signature is on the tax form saying you owe the money. So there's your security. You did the same thing with the note. For a house or a car, it doesn't matter. Buy a motorcycle, it's still the same thing. So the Fed then gives the bank the money. The bank then gives the money to somebody. Doesn't matter who. Correct? But your note is still the security. You created the money. That's what people have to start understanding. When you create the money, the bank didn't give you anything. And then to back it up, when you ask them what thing of value, well, doesn't 18 U.S.C. 8 say that an obligation of the United States is, in fact, a Federal Reserve note?
18 U.S.C. what?
8.
Okay.
If you look it up, it'll say obligations of the United States are defined as. Is that not correct, Harry?
Yep.
And when you read it, about the 10th or 11th one in will be the Federal Reserve note. And an obligation, unless you can prove it otherwise, is a debt. How can a debt
Gary,
of value?
I'm here.
Gary, running over time.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're past time. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the heck out of it.
Okay,
Now,
bye.
ma'am, if you want to get with Ed, and Ed can get with me, and then I can send it on to Mike, and then if you don't mind, you and him can carry on this conversation because it's kind of off target or off target, but.
Well, yeah, with the IRS, but on with jurisdiction because I think that's the key. That's where I'm interested in the jurisdictional aspect.
Yep, you're fine. We thank you for being here.
Thank you, and we'll connect with the other woman from Washington too.
I just sent Ed an email telling him that you can connect, that he can send you my information.
Okay.
Do you know a person in Washington named Travis?
No.
Okay.
I'm in Walla Walla County.
Okay. I'm in King County.
Oh, okay.
Hey, thank you for being here tonight.
Okay.
No problem. I hope you learned something.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Our next call will be December 11th.
Super. Thanks, Ed.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Bye.